Hey guys, what is up and welcome to my channel. It's a Hardback Life. My name is Jordan, and today we're going to talk about a couple things. One, the reading goal that I have, the main one I have for the year. We're going to talk about that. And then we're also going to talk about the books that I've read so far, which also includes the readathon that I'm currently involved in. And the rest of my reading plans for the rest of the month, even though there's only 5 days left. So let's get started, shall we? So the total of books that I have read so far is 41, which means I have passed my reading goal. My reading goal was 40 books. So all I gotta say about that is, woo! Yes. Yes. I am someone who cannot read 100 books like some of y'all can. I don't get how you can, but 40 books was doable for me. And I did it. I am so proud of myself because last year I had the same number for my goal and I was like 3 or 4 short just because of the last portion of the year was so hectic and I didn't have a lot of time because I work in retail and I'm head cashier, so I do a lot at my job. And the holidays, we have a lot of snowbirds and just people shopping in our store. I work at Goodwill. For those of you who don't know, I work at Goodwill, and it gets crazy busy around the holidays. And yeah, so there's that. But I read 40 books, and one of the books that I'm going to share with you got me. I can't wait to share with you all the books that I have read so far, which are not many. It's a total of 3, but I hope to make up for a lot of that loss for the month this weekend. Well, at least some of it, not all of it, because the readathon I'm involved in, there is no way I can do all those prompts. Anyway, so yeah, I read 41 books so far this year, and I'm hoping to make it to my goal that I changed it to. My goal for the rest of the year is 60 books total. Yeah, I know. I upped it to 60. So here's hoping I could read 19 more books in the next 2 months. Wish me luck. Let's talk about the books that I have read so far, and I will tell you also about the readathon. The readathon is the Stephen King Clue readathon. Now, there are 28 total prompts. I'm not going to share all of them with you, just the ones that I plan on reading books for, or the ones that I have already read books for. But in this readathon, we were split up into like 5 or 6 different teams, and each team is based off of a character in one of like a fantasy novel, or just like a mystery thriller novel, or even like a Stephen King novel. And this readathon is based off of Stephen King books, by the way. And like I said, it's a Stephen King clue readathon, which means each Clue is based off of, first of all, a Stephen King character, and then a Stephen King weapon in one of the books, and then also their motive. And basically, each team has to read a certain amount of books in order to get each clue. And the team to read the most books and solve the mystery of who did it, why they did it, and what weapon they used wins the whole thing. And my team is getting pretty close. I'm on Team Scooby-Doo, and I'm so glad that I have people on my team who have more time than I do to read, because I have not contributed as much as I would have liked, and it is what it is. But you know what? I'm super happy with what I have read, and also the fact that I've read 41 books so far. So, yeah. Anyway, let's get you clued in on what I've read and what the prompts were. Okay. First book I read for the month of October was Crossroad the Twilight. It's the 10th book in the Wheel of Time, and not a favorite. I didn't love this book. I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars because there were some things that were interesting in this book, but I wasn't a fan. This is, I don't know if I would say this is the weakest book in the series. Probably, actually. Yeah, probably so far. I have enjoyed the first half, so like books 1 through 7. I generally enjoyed all those books. And then 8 through 10 so far have been not so good, at least to me. And, I mean, I will give you reasons why when I finish the whole series, because I want to talk about the series as a whole. But I read this book, speaking of, for the readathon, for the prompt to read a book that is at least 666 pages or more. Now, this is 681 pages of just novel. The rest is like glossary, so technically 697. But this is definitely over 666 pages. And all I gotta say is I read it. And I hope the 11th book is better. I read this book I read this book because Kate from the Literary Apothecary, I'll link her channel down below, she has been hosting a read-along for this series, The Wheel of Time, and we've been reading it since January, so 1 book a month, and we're in October, so that means book number 10, and we have 4 more books to go, plus the prequel. So we'll see how my feelings are for the series as a whole in 2024. The next book I read is This Day is Dark by R.H. Sin. This book is a poetry book. And this chronicles a relationship that our author had. And not just one relationship, but like multiple relationships, whether it's been family or friends. Mainly it's about someone who he used to love. And this book goes deep. He talks about a lot of stuff that went wrong. And then he gets hopeful towards the second half of the book. But oh my gosh. I cried like a whole bunch of times because these poems are deep and relatable, and I definitely recommend it. I'm not going to read one poem to you right now because I don't know if I will be able to hold my tears in, because this book, like I said, was powerful. I read it for the prompt, read a book with the word dark in on the cover. And obviously this book is called This Day is Dark. I could have chosen it for a short story or a collection of, but I chose to read it for the prompt, read a book with the word dark in it. And I gave this book 5 stars, recommend it. I can't wait to read anything else this guy has put out, whether it's poetry or a straight up novel. Oh, that was by R.H. Sin. And the last book that I have read so far and for the month of October is Fourth Wing. Some people love this book and some people really hate it. I fall on the spectrum of loving this book. There was so much amazing things about this book that I loved, whether it was a lot of the characters or just the way the story was being told. This is about a girl named Violet Soaringale who has trained all her life to be a scribe. And a scribe is basically the people who write and record history and do some research, and record data and all that stuff. And they put out statistics on survival rate and all this stuff. She trained all her life to do that. But her mother, who is a legendary dragon rider, forces her to go to the writer's quadrant. And basically the only way you can leave the dragon riding school is either by dying or graduating. Because in this book, the people that go to this school have to ultimately bond with the dragon, and they get put through so many tests, which involves them getting hurt really bad or dying. And obviously the point of this book is to survive and graduate and possibly join or get a job in within the war or something else. And like I said, I really enjoyed this book. There were some parts that were somewhat confusing and just kind of threw me for a loop, but I still really enjoyed this book. And there was a character or two that did piss me off, but like I said, I really, really, really enjoyed this book. And I love that I have a book with the design of the dragons. I bought this book when it came out. I loved it. I can't wait for the sequel. And that's all I'm going to say about it right now. I'm going to do a book review on it soon. So, yeah, I'm excited for book number 2. And I'll give you more info on how I feel about it when I do the book review. Okay, those are all the books that I read so far. And I'm blanking on what prompt I did for Fourth Wing. Oh, I think it was to read a book that, I will have to, when I edit this video, I will probably post post the prompt, because I don't even remember. Okay, so the next few books are going to be books that I plan on reading for the rest of the month, if I can get to them, or books that I just I'm mentioning because I want to read them. Okay, so the first book I'm going to talk about is Invoking the Blood. This is by Callista Knife. She's a local author in Arizona, where I live. And in this book, our main character, Faye, is she and her sister, Sparrow, decide to crash a ball that happens yearly that the vampires host. It's called the Hunter's Moon Ball. And this is a romance fantasy, by the way, adult romance fantasy. And our main character comes into contact with the Dark Prince. And after she comes into contact with him, they both end up dreaming about each other. And one day he goes and kidnaps her and starts something with her until he finds out that she's a human with no magic. And I say that because there are different kinds of people. There are Anarians, who are humans without magic. There are Dark Bloods, which her sister is a Dark Blood, and they are the most powerful humans with magic. And then there's Day Bloods, who are less powerful than the Dark Bloods. There's other species too, but I'm blanking right now. But yes, the first book focuses on the romance and a little bit of the action too. The second book is where I guess the story kicks into full gear with the action. I've only gotten 3 chapters into this one, and I haven't decided on whether I'm going to do this book for the prompt, read a book with romance, or read a book with vampires. Probably vampires, because there's tons of books I have that have romance in it. We'll see. The next book I'm going to talk about is Proven Guilty, the 8th book in the Dresden Files series. If you don't know about the Dresden Files, I don't want to say you're living under a rock, but you probably are. The book series is a book series I love. It's about a guy named Harry Dresden, who is a detective and also a wizard. And he basically helps the police solve magical related cases. And the book series gets deeper into the world of the wizards and other creatures as the series goes along. Like I said, I've really enjoyed majority of the books in this series, and there's currently 17, I think. And this is book number 8, so I have a long way to go still. But I'm enjoying this journey. I just started this one like yesterday. I'm like about to start chapter 3 in the audiobook, I think. So I should have this book done this weekend, because even though it's over 500 pages, these books are usually really quick to read. And it's an urban fantasy, by the way, so if you like urban fantasy type books, this is a good series to read. And this is for the prompt to read a book that is based off of a team. And there's a team Dresden, so I'm going to read this book, because Harry Dresden is one of the main character. The next book we have is Prison Healer, The Prison Healer, by Lynette Noni. This is the first of a trilogy. I think the series is called The Prison Healer. It's about a girl who gets taken along with her father to this prison called Zalendov, and I guess there was a rebellion, and they were accused of being part of the rebellion, and our main character is stuck as the prison healer, basically healing all the people who come into the prison and she basically helps them transition into the prison. But I think there's a character or two that's going to be a part of the rebellion. I don't know too much about this book series. Like I said, I'm only 40 pages in, so I can't tell you a whole lot because I don't know a whole lot. But I'm really enjoying what I'm reading so far. Oh, and this is blurbed. I don't know if you can see. This is blurbed by Miss Sarah J. Maas. So I'm looking forward to finishing this because I heard the ending, especially, is really good. Okay, the next book I'm going to talk about is My Lovely Wife. I'm reading this for the prompt that is read a book with one of the readathon weapons in the and this is a knife. It's one of the readathon weapons in the Stephen King Clue readathon. And this is about a couple who are parents by day and serial killers by night. This I read in 2022. It was one of my favorite reads of 2022. And I'm so happy that I'm going to read it again. I actually borrowed this from a friend, at least another copy. And I loved it so much that I bought my own copy. And yeah, I loved it. Like, I loved it a lot. And this is not a favorite of Jake's or Stacy's. Jake from the Bookstagram, if I didn't mention before. I'm sure I did, because this is his readathon. He and Stacy both did not love the ending, I guess. So they didn't love this book in general. I did, on the other hand, like I said, and I can't wait to reread it. I think I'm going to do that as soon as I finish the Dresden Files book. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm going to finish this book this year regardless, again, because this is one of my favorite books in the psychological thriller category, and I 100% recommend it. Because the twist is ridiculous, and like ridiculously crazy, at least I thought it was, and it just takes you on a wild ride. Okay, the next book I'm going to talk about is the second book in the Ember and the Ashes Quartet. This is A Torch Against the Night. I read An Ember in the Ashes back in June. I need to get to it. I want to finish this series this year. So I need to get my button gear. I don't know which prompt I'm going to use it for, so we'll see. And then this one I'm going to use for the prompt, which is read a book and a book series that has at least 8 books. And this book series is a middle grade fantasy that has at least 8 books. It has 8 books exactly. And this is about a young boy named Charlie Bone who finds out that he has an ability. And because he has this ability, his family makes him go to a school for the gifted called Bloor's Academy. And at this school, he meets other people like him who have powers, and they're called when I say this, it's called the Children of the Red King. So they all are descendants of the children of the Red King. Because the Red King had 10 kids, and they all had unique powers, like the Red King. And then, obviously, they have several lines of people like these endowed children. And our main character, Charlie Bone, he and his friends always stop a situation from getting crazy, because that's generally what happens in this book. They go to the school, and then there's a mystery that they need to solve, and it's usually caused by an evil person within the school, and it's awesome. This is the 4th book. I need to get my button gear because I really, really, really would love to finish this series. This was a childhood favorite. It wasn't completed when I was a kid, but it got completed over the years, and I have all 8 books, and I'm looking forward to finishing this series once and for all. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Writing Retreat. This book came out back in February of this year, and it's about a girl who is an aspiring writer, and she gets a letter or something, invitation, inviting her to this cabin. And the deal is, though, she has to write a novel in that certain amount of time, and then along with other writers who are in attendance, and whoever has the best book gets a book deal. Now, the bad thing about this is, one, her writing rival is there, and 2, people are disappearing. That's right. People are disappearing. And she has to not only finish her book, but figure out what is happening, because she doesn't want to become the next person that disappears and they find or whatever, and it's bad. So this is a book that has been on my TBR all year, pretty much. And it's a book I've been anticipating because I so badly want to read it. I don't know what book or what prompt I'm going to reuse this one for either, because there's another book that has like this writing, like it's green on the cover, and one of the prompts is read a book with green on the cover, but I'm not going to use this one. I'm going to use it for the next book we're going to talk about, and that is The House of Roots and Ruin by Aaron A. Craig. This is the sequel to House of Salt and Sorrows, which I read last year and absolutely loved. This series is called The Salt Sisters, I believe. The first book was based off of the 12 Dancing Princesses fairy tale. And the second book here, I don't know if it's based off of a fairy tale, but it takes place a few years after the first book. And like I said, I loved the first book. I gave it 5 stars. And oh gosh, these covers are so beautiful. And look, it has the sprayed edges. This is a special edition. Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. And as soon as I found out that it was coming out, I had to grab it. I had to pre-order it. And oh man, this is, like I said, this is so freaking beautiful. And I've already started it, so I'm hoping to finish it, and then I will talk about it. What I want to talk about is a book that I have been waiting for since I finished it last year. Because the ending of the second book, that cliffhanger was insane, and I so badly wanted to get my hands on the third and final book, but obviously I had to wait another year, and that is A Curse for True Love, my friends, by Stephanie Garber. This book is the third and final book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. Here, get a closer look. It's kind of, the writing's kind of hard to see once you, A Curse for True Love. This is a sequel series from the Caraval trilogy. The Caraval trilogy, as it focuses on 2 sisters, this trilogy focuses on another like village, like, and the north, I guess. I can't remember exactly where it takes place. I don't know why I'm blanking on that. But in this series, our main character, Evangeline Fox, is in love with this wonderful guy or whatever. And she gets her heart broken because one day he's in love with her and the next he's marrying someone else. And she makes a deal with one of the fates that was introduced in Caraval. And she makes a deal with him to stop the wedding. And whatever he wants her to do, she'll do. Now, this sets off a whole chain of events in this series that get very ugly and obviously crazy for the main character and the Prince of Hearts, which is the Fate. And like I said, the Prince of Hearts, who's the Fate that she asked to stop the wedding, he stops the wedding, but it comes at a price to our main character. And like I said, a whole bunch of chaos happens throughout the series. And boy, like each book takes you for a ride. I cannot wait to read this book. It came out on Tuesday. I pre-ordered it, but my pre-order is delayed. I got a message on my email saying that your pre-order is delayed, and I was just like, what? I want to get my hands on this book now. What do you mean it's delayed? What, you know? And so I was a little upset. So I just went out to Barnes & Noble and bought myself a copy. So I will still have my pre-ordered book, but I'll also have this one. So I'm going to read this one and then just keep my pre-ordered copy. And this will be the last thing I show you before I go. And I actually might use A Curse for True Love as the romance book, as the romance prompt. So yeah, I'm thinking I'll do that. But I'm thinking of rereading this book, Once Upon a Broken Heart, which is book 1. And then reading The Ballad of Never After, which is book 2. And then reading A Curse for True Love, which is book 3. Just so I can, read the whole trilogy over again and then get to the final book and just hopefully love it and hope for a great ending. But I don't know. I might just read this first and then go back to the other two and then read this again. But this is one of my most anticipated releases for 2023. And I'm so excited. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe and do all the fun things. And I will see you later. Bye.